All right. Got a project here that I've got a 4-hour retainer on for design and rendering. And then I've got some source material from a real estate listing to use as just resource for finishes, etc. This is a project I did a little session on in my VIP area on YouTube, and that was just to show how some quick edits to the kitchen to kind of kick the realism up. But now we actually got to go through and really make this look realistic. So this is hour one of 4. Let's kick this on, and then excuse me for a second. Facebook made it so that we can't post directly to groups on live sessions, so I gotta come in and repost it to a group if I want. So that just takes me a second at the beginning here because I got no one helping me. Dang it. All right, I'm going to share this to a group. There we go. Cool. And this is looking okay. I'm going to put the source, just going to put the source address up here. I mean, this is the source finishes to pull from. So I'm going to have to study these. That's a pretty cool looking bathroom. Some interesting ideas there. Actually, I love this. I love this setup. I already did a quick browse through this, and obviously we would say that, I wouldn't turn down living in this home, but I think we could improve upon the finishes and selections here. I really don't like these stools. There's a few other things I don't like. I'm not a huge fan of the metallic subway tile. The box beams, I think they could have done a better job on those box beams. That's a real old school look. The way they box those, sandwich those. And I think the lights take away a little bit. Just going to kind of keep this up on the screen. 1 second, I'm still going to share this post again. Bam. Okay, let's get going. Let's get going. So this is the source project, right? This is what we take inspiration from. And then we'll just do a little preview. We can see here, if you take a look at this, and then let's switch it over to Chief, and I'm going to rotate this camera just so we can see. And you can see that the original designer, we're definitely pulling from this. Now, my process when I'm designing is that I have to first kind of put some textures on there to get the realism up before I can really see it, right? Right now, for some reason, I have trouble visualizing anything in this space until I start putting in some textures that make sense to me. I don't love this floor. I think I'd get kind of free reign on what I choose to put in here, so long as it's kind of following the brief, and then we'll do some edits and kind of edit it backwards. I like that this is stone in the source image. Yeah, and then I might use my shelf tools to make this easy. Kind of maximize the time I have on this. A real quick edit would be to come in here and just make this fire look a little bit nicer, right? So I'll just start with things like this, and as I keep changing materials and textures and everything, that kind of brings me to a place where I start to just see the whole thing a little bit better. So there we go. Kick the fire on. Let's start with that. And let's throw some stone on these walls. Let me just see what I've got in the library right now. And they're actually kind of doing like large stones. So I'm going to take a look at what stone I have in my catalog. And so nothing really appropriate. So we'll just go take a look at my tile. Jump in with any comments, any questions. If you see something cool, if you want me to stop and share some info about something, let me know. A lot of times I'll just like to paint this first with anything, just so I can even see it. And then it's easy to switch your material paint mode to a full room painter mode, where we're just replacing everything that has this same material. So you only have to do this once to kind of set it up, and then you can go from there. And so this linear fire has like a little bit of like a casing around it, which I don't really love the look at that. Something's kind of funny about that. Yeah, I don't like it. Bet you we could build a better looking fireplace than this pretty quickly. Um, yeah. I mean, I like the way this is built. Let's just go edit this. Why not? So I'll just copy paste. I'm going to do a new plan from template. So I use the residential template. That way I don't even have to bother with deleting the stuff that's in my template, and then paste hold. There we go. And we can pull a little camera view. And let's use the delete surface tool to kind of change this to what we want. This would be a real fast little edit here. So I'll just delete that and this flange. And it's a funny little item here. A lot of times what's helpful here is if you do the line over so you can see any kind of little things that you might have missed with the delete surface tool. And then making sure that I'm painting anything that I might want as a different component, different setup. But there we go. That's pretty good. So now let's reconvert this to a symbol. And we're going to say, yeah, this is a fixture. Inline. Nice. I don't know what we're going to call it. I'll probably rename it. We're going to add it to the library. Press OK. Need to find out what the depth of this is, 7 5/8. And so if we look at this, 7 5/8. Okay. And so what could be interesting, we don't even need that surrounding box, honestly. I don't need any of that stuff. Let me go back. Let me delete some more on this. I actually want to make all this disappear. I don't need any of it. This is really helpful if you got a 3D mouse. Very, very easy to kind of pan around this as you're doing stuff. Just remember that you can't update the 3D, which means you can't place any new object in here, or it's going to rebuild all the surfaces we just spent that time deleting. Also, if you're going to do a line over, turn that squiggle off and turn the line extensions off. All right, so now we can convert selected to symbol, and then inline fireplace, or linear fireplace, whatever you want to call it. And so we want to know that depth, 6 5/8, so that we option inserts into wall 6 5/8. And then you want to be able to stretch it. So we're going to get into advanced sizing, and we don't want to stretch about the fire. So we need to stretch on either side of the fire. So we're just going to do 2 stretch planes in the width, and it's probably going to be positive 3.5. Let's go 6 and almost 7.5. There we go. So negative 7.5. It'd be great if we had some kind of measuring tool within this dialog box. And then the next thing is if we're going to stretch this in the height, I'd want to get above these fires as well, I think. So the height of this thing is 13 inches. So we'll just say it's 10 inches is where our stretch plane. Remember, this is like an infinity stretch plane. So it just stretches about that plane. And let's see, do we need anything in the depth? No, not really. And then do we need to edit the wall cutout? No, we don't. Okay, so that all looks correct. 2D symbol, I just like to set this to always. I don't know why it's not just always from the beginning, in case you're resizing, reorienting, changing something. And then now we could come back to this and hover over, and in our edit toolbar, choose toggle replacement mode, and it should be able to just replace. There we go. Yeah, that looks a little slicker. I like it. Could probably size it up a little bit. When you're in 3D and you're trying to move something in a linear direction, you could start clicking and dragging and holding shift, I believe, is what kind of helps keep snaps in place. But what's even better than that, or you could hold alt, but I just like right click and drag. That'll just drag it in the direction that you're dragging it orthogonally. It's crazy how many terms you got to learn just to use the software, right? All right, let me go take a look at that source image again. Yeah, this is a much bigger linear fireplace. So it's a concentric resize. It would be nice if I picked my tile so that, it's not that I'm going to size the linear fireplace to the tile, but maybe I size the tile to the linear fireplace. Who knows? So yeah, we'll drag this out. Now we're testing those stretch planes. It should stretch in between these little fire guys, and not a whole lot you can do about that. That's what you're stuck with, unless you used a single plane, which would be a lot better. So let's go back to this. If I'm going to do something, I want to do it and do it right and don't want to have to come back to it again. I'm going to zero out all these this time because that's what I said you probably should do. That'll make all those squiggly bits go away. You could just switch to a vector view, which would also work. But here's what I'm thinking is I'm just going to take our face tool and make this really easy on yourself. Delete surface that guy that was in the way. In fact, we could delete anything that's in the way. All these guys, why not? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the face tool and I'm going to kind of get in here, click. Let's see, click, drag, and this starts drawing a face, and I want to snap to these elements and then double click at the end. There we go. So I got a single face here, and I'm going to end up applying a fire material to that. Let's see what we got here. That way, when we stretch this, it stretches the fire. There's no gaps in between. So what do we got here? Something like that. Let's switch back to this. That's an okay one. Let's try this. There we go. That's a lot better. I'm liking that. So now back to delete surface tool. Get rid of these things. We're doing one more shot at this. Now, I want to note something about this. We're obviously going to save this to the library, but the other thing that you could do instead of saving it to the library is you could export this as a 3ds object. And what would happen is it actually would change the way it's UV mapped and a number of other things, which sometimes can be beneficial. And then you would just go to the symbol in the library and in the 3D panel, choose to replace the geometry and import that 3ds that you exported. And so that would re-UV map that symbol, which is kind of a crazy little feature. All right, so here we go. Convert selected. Yep. Let's try this all over again. Always 3D, nothing, okay. Options, inserts into wall, and 6 5/8. And then advanced sizing to stretch planes. We would say 7.5, -7.5. Bam. Oh, shoot. What did I do wrong there? Forgot to select the face. So you kind of want to grab. I can't grab the face. Where's that face? There it is. Let's just architecturally block these. There we go. Mistakes were made. And I'm just mainly deleting this because I don't need to see it in terms of CAD blocks, and it's just adding surface count that we don't need to show. So there we go. Now we got this architectural block. It should come in with that. Orientation is wrong. because we blocked it. So we got to rotate it about the Z. There we go. That's facing the right way now. And then what are you laughing at? You laughing at me? You laughing at me? Let's see. What do we got? One more time. One more time. And height was what, 10? All right. There we go. Now we can size it up and fire won't look too bad. Could have put that stretch plane in the middle of the fire. That would have been something. All right, let's see what I can do about these shelves. We'll just try it on one side. That way, if I screw up, we can flip it about the other side. So I have a tool that takes a wall cabinet, and in my library over here, I should be able to choose painter and countertop shelf and get to, yep, something that paints a shelf. There we go. And then show in folder. Let's see the rest of the system. I think I needed to fix this system, but I don't know, maybe it's working right. Got a couple different shelf options here. Slab shelf looks like the option. So these are just cabinet doors, believe it or not. So we just get to hover over this section and replace it. And it's just a cabinet door. It's kind of a trick. Oops, I clicked on the wrong one. So that replaced the cabinet door and we have items on the shelf. Cool. And bumps turned on, F11 key for me. Means I just get to bump this to the end. And because this is a cabinet, it's not actually a shelf, it's a cabinet. I could come in here and split face items because I set these up to be 30 inches and 15 inches so that they were easy to trade out. So you just come in here, select this item, split vertically, and now you got two shelves. One should be roughly 30 inches. The other side should be roughly 15. So you got to kind of split the difference. There we go. And now I can find another shelf item that's a 15-inch shelf item for my system, for which I have a lot in here that does that in terms of items. Oh, we're missing some textures on some of them. And so we'll pick one. Something like that, right? So we can replace the component. There we go. Really quick shelf. And since now this is set up, you should just be able to drag this up and do whatever with it. I think that these shelves should complement whatever stone we end up putting on the fireplace itself. I don't like this stark black contrast. I don't think it added to this at all. In fact, I think it's distracting. I see the shelves before I see anything else. The other thing is, it'd be nice to have a little recess in the TV. I'm going to switch to just standard rendering mode so we're not wait for this thing to render. And then we'll do a little niche. Maybe, maybe not. What's the holdup, Chief? Boy, that was a slow little transition. I don't have a niche tool. I made my own. I forgot about that. And that didn't insert into the wall. Let's try it up here. There we go. Okay. I really don't like TVs above fireplaces. I think I've said this before. not my thing. So if I'm gonna do it, I typically drop this TV as low as possible. So let's just drop this down. I centered it on the TV, so we just get to size it concentrically, left and right. Leave a little bit of a gap. Bam. And then use the select next side tool to get this over to the side, and then right click to drag straight down, and right click to drag straight back. And bumps are turned on, so I got to turn them off real quick. There we go. And that's looking pretty good. Turn the bumps back on. And why are we putting the weather on there? I haven't found the perfect TV texture. Like, what should be on there? I think I do have a Netflix. Oh, I have a Netflix Stranger Things. That's an interesting one. And then kick the light on this LCD monitor, 250, and set the stretch to fit. It's kind of a funny one, actually. We'll see what that looks like when it's rendered out. But I also might try lining these shelves up on the tile in a good way once we figure out what tile that is. So you can always do copy paste and pull up with the right click, and so that still binds this in a plane, right? Orthogonally. Gotta keep saying that to myself. And then what's this? Is this a countertop? Sure is. So you could add an eased molding to this countertop, or oh no, this is a solid. So because it's a solid, I'm going to just do a little fillet, a little 1/4 inch fillet. 3D all is the tool we're going to use. That'll soften this up a little bit. And so that'll look nice when we go to render. And then let's trade out some of these items on the shelf. Component mode, bam. Let's get a little crazy with it. I'm in the 15-inch items, so now we switch to the 30-inch items. And so I need to add to these systems. I could use some more stuff, especially some more decor items, I think. Because we got to do a whole nother side here too. I also think it'd be really interesting to put something in the back here. And it's an opportunity to put some kind of pattern or something, especially if we go really, what if we just went all stone here? So I'm going to make a copy of this material. And so that retains our ability to paint the fireplace separate from everything else if we use the room mode. So if we make a copy of the material, that's an easy process. And we're not doing quantity takeoffs, so that shouldn't be a problem. So now I go room mode, paint this out, but technically it's a different material. So we could change this easily again. And then let's go maybe try a wallpaper. And I'll just throw one in there. Maybe I'll even use the backsplash tool and just paint in here. Going to Chief Architect headquarters next week, and one of the things I want to talk about is just optimizing the software. See how this is automatically cutting around my wall cabinets? I mean, that's by intent, that makes sense. So you would just place it first and then bring it down and it won't cut. A little bit easier. What's nice about my backsplash tool versus this one, this is not my plan template. So it's someone else's template. So if they were using my plan template, I actually have a grout material behind the backsplash. And because we have translucent and transparent materials now with cutting masks or masks in general, you can make tile that has some translucent elements and some that are not. also going to need some light in this area. I think I want to drop in the source material. I mean, excuse me, the source project. What do we have here? Let's go take a browse through again. Yeah, so we've got these faux beams here. Maybe we throw in some beams in here as well. I don't like this, but you know what? I've got to start somewhere. Okay, so what is this? This is a solid. Let's just throw a beam material in here. And I actually think I want to I don't want the crisscross. I want to go straight across. Pick one of my beam materials, object mode, bam. And so let's narrow this up. Easy enough to click and drag this, snap it to itself or bump it to itself, and then subtract what, 7.5 maybe? So 7.5 inch beam. Center it up on the room. Ooh, I did a boo-boo there. I love when they added the preview of where your object ends up once you've completed the action that you're doing. I actually think I want to rotate this the other direction so it's going out. And also, that kind of makes sense anyways, structurally. We're picking up on this wall that could be a load-bearing wall. Honestly, I haven't studied this at all, so I don't know. I got an hour, so don't even need to consider those things. So let's just use the new reflect about, and we should be able to reflect, especially if we just pick up the bottom here. There we go. Bam, flipped it 90 degrees. Super easy with that new tool. And then let's bring it inside the bounds. Of course, because this is a solid, it behaves differently depending on which direction, which polar direction you are with it. And then there we go. We're using bumps because I stretched it inside of whatever this is. Maybe these are soffits. Maybe it's a tray ceiling. And it depends on what the primary design technician used. Then you could just bump to that object really easily. And let's center this up on the exterior door. This is a house. This is a house, but I don't know what the structure of this house is, and I am not going to take the time to consider it. I'll let them take that out in the edit. What did I just do? I did inspect mode on my StreamYard. Dang it. Now I can't see anything. Oh, there it goes. All right. And so because our grain orientation is wrong, I still haven't made myself a beam for some reason. I have no idea why. And what is this? What is it made of? Oh, it's a soffit. I don't like using soffits for beams. I prefer the solids because you can't do anything. You can't explode them, nothing. So I'd rather just snap to this corner, bring it in, bring it up, bump to that. There we go. And then pop it to itself. Minus 7.5. Now we got it. And then I would probably just bring this up 1/2 inch. Has a lot of fireplaces. I've only seen one. Did you see another one? All right, 7.5, 7.5. Oh, 7.5 by 7.5. That's a weird one. Let's go 0.5 up, or maybe 5/8 up. The amount of time you have to spend making a beam in Chief Architect is kind of crazy. I mean, I guess I could use a framing member instead. I don't know why I don't have any reason not to. And let's get rid of this soffit, but let's paint it with my solid. Paint the solid first. So same problem, only this time I'm going to just chamfer an edge. That'll make less poly count. So set chamfer 1/4 inch, sure. And then let's just do all. And then let's explode it. And then let's architecturally block it. And now we'll make a copy of the beam material and rotate it. And apply it component based just on the base. And now we have a beam. Get rid of the soffit. And so here's something kind of funny that we could try. Let's take this, and if we drag this to the point where it bumps and copy 188 3/4 and cancel, and then multiple copy and say that we want a total of 4 beams. So we're going to make 3 copies, and then left click, drag out, hit tab or enter, and paste that 188. I think that we get an even distribution of those beams. Cool. All right, there's something. Throw some lighting in here. Yeah, this could get interesting. And do we want to take a nod from the beams into the shelves? Sure. Same thing, we can make a copy of this texture again so that we could paint the shelves and keep them separate in case we need to change the color of them very easily. Beam symbols in the object store. You mean just Chief Architect's stuff? They've got a beam symbol? So if we type in beam, we're typing in beam, and now we're typing in, I'm assuming millwork or fixture? Millwork or fixture. So there's nothing in fixtures. I don't know what this is. What is this? Huh. That's in some kind of manufacturer. Oh, that's an engineer. It's probably in Simpson, really? I don't know. Tell me what you're talking about. I actually, you know what you said about using that for a cabinet, David? Check this out. I have something really cool in my library. It's in the beta section of my library. Started developing it one of those classes I teach in North Carolina. So shop beta stuff, post system, dynamic pergola. So this is an architectural block, but check this thing out. It's kind of cool. This is, because you mentioned cabinets, this is a cabinet. That is right there. So if we drag this over, you can see this top piece is the countertop. So like if we had some way of like use the trim tool to just snap to the edge here, and then oh, really? Does that not work? Okay. What else could we use to gather distance for something? I guess that, yeah, 51 and 5/8. So if I take this and I elongate the overhang, 51 and 5/8, right? There we go. Joins. Isn't that funny? So this is, all these are replaceable components. So you can replace the type of hardware here just by clicking on it, because technically it's a cabinet door. See, that's a cabinet door. Showed people in my advanced class how to build this out. And so you've got a dynamic post base system that's adjustable, etc. So I think if you drag this up, it should not stretch those bottom bracketry, right? Yeah, pretty wild. And then this is just a molding, so you can continue this molding. See what happens when we turn it this way. Yeah. Pretty wild. Nice. Oh, you have some of my stuff. Very cool. I love knowing that. It's really hard to track when people have things, and I love hearing about that. All right, I'm really curious what happens when you take this wallpaper and put it in this recess in the ceiling. Just like seeing, like, what happens to the space. See, I like that. I like that. It's not for the brief though here, but I bet you I can make something like that work. It's, yeah, okay. Interesting. So what if we put in, what if we did this instead? Interesting, but I have to bring this back to that real modern feel. See what happens when we change out the floor. A good flooring texture can make all the difference. Okay, I got it now. All right, we need some lights up in this bad boy. Schematic, first floor plan, roof plan, floor plans first. Oh, interesting. No save plan view for, let's just make a electrical, right? Well, let's just switch to electrical set and save and oh, what's a code for electrical? I'm out of date on those codes. 16 electrical. We did have some lights in here. I didn't see lights though. Oh, they're there and they're just not turned on. Okay, so this is too blocky and choppy. So we're going to take this back to, I'm going to change this. Don't like the stone fire that we used. So let's get into my tag system here. Countertop shelf material, and let's go kitchen and clear RD floor. Yeah. So kind of my process when I'm looking at designs, I'm really just looking at color palettes and textures and materiality. And I like to envision. Oh, I need to learn how to use my markup tool on the screen. I like to envision and squint my eyes and see what color blocks do I see, what pops out, and what am I trying to direct people towards, right? What do I really want them to see when they're looking in here? And because we have so much blocking in here, meaning that we've got really strong linear structure, architectural structure everywhere here, so many squares. I kind of need the material then to make it blend and feel cohesive. And you could do that with the right decor, right? Or you could do it with the right finishes or lighting, any combinations of those things. So I just like to play for a while until I see something that kind of pops. Like, how crazy would it be to kind of kick this in a different direction and go where we're like turning this whole back wall into something very dark, right? So we could do a dark slate something and then come in with a tile as a backer and go dark. So I just like to goof around with that stuff until I start finding stuff that I find to be interesting. And then from there, it's picking. Like, this isn't going to make any sense, but it's close to what I was thinking in terms of like we're we're changing the whole dynamic of this back little area here just by changing the color palette. You use parallel lines to make smaller rooms look larger in one direction if they are unbroken. Okay. Like, is this interesting? I kind of like that this stone piece is at the bottom somewhat breaks up, creates almost like a floating effect. But at the same time, why are you going to put this ledge here above the fireplace and have a ledge below? Like, I want it to just have one. And I almost feel like it'd be pretty cool and dramatic to. I like this shelf right here, so I'm gonna ditch one of these. I'm gonna ditch this one. I'm gonna try see what happens when we bring this up, and I almost want to make it be aligned on the front edge. I'll show you what I mean in just a second here. Oh, and then I have to end this in about 10 minutes. I got a little call I'm going to be on here. Work on some training. If anyone didn't know, I do training. Sometimes people don't know that. Let's see. What'd you say, David? To me, that ceiling shrinks the room and doesn't lead you to the fireplace. Okay. Yeah, I get that. So what happens when we bring this up and clear the shelf so I'm not running into bumps? It's crazy how drastically different things can be with just a few edits. Have the opportunity to throw a big floor plan in over here now, and that's lifted. And oh, I can't bring this out because the door's so close. That's too bad. Ooh, hate this. Hate it. Hated it. Yeah, you said it doesn't lead you to the fireplace, and I'm in agreement. Kind of same with just even the flooring directions off. kind of like this big stone, but just in the shelves themselves. I wonder if I can make these shelves have a fatter shelf. Since it's a cabinet door, I think I can. Yeah, I can. So that's easy. Let's make that a stone. I'm gonna get rid of that for now. And you can burn some time on doing a little bit of design. This hour went by fast. Okay, David, let's check this going out the other way now. And so I should just make this, like you said, into a beam material, except for, well, you rotate it, and because it's a solid, it does that goofy thing. So let's just make this fixture. No, I don't really want it a fixture. Furnishings, fixture, millwork, millwork. Okay, oops, beam, grabs beam. What about that? Millwork. Show advanced options. Doesn't need a stretch plane, but it does need to be rotated. There we go. And shouldn't be any other sizing. General panel from ceiling. It's a roof beam, so 0-inch. Bing, bang, boom. Height, yeah, okay, fine. Oh, and it still rotates the texture. Isn't that annoying? I think you just get to paint in as one texture. When you add it to the library, it no longer does that rotation thing. So it just gets to be one texture now. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And wait, is this the, oh, that's not my symbol. Where's my symbol? Yes, and I think what would be more compelling is this view. So this is, to me, more important than this one. You're not going to look up at the ceiling. You don't have enough room to look up at the ceiling coming around this corner, right? I think you're right in that it needed to go that other direction. All right, so let me get rid of these guys. Oh, there's my beam. Ha. He's not quite on the ceiling like he should be. There he is. That should bump. Yep, perfect. Bump. Yep, perfect. And same trick is we can just right click, drag to bump. 149, cancel, bang, 149. Don't like those back textures. Need to get some furniture in here. What sofas do I have that are worth a dang? That thing looks so tiny. Crazy. Modern look. Let's just get real rug in here. Yeah, the more I add, the more this all starts to make sense to me once I start adding it all in. There's not much of a living room. Give a look real quick. I really do. I really do. You know what? I have one over mine in my room in my house. It really was the only place it made sense. It's absolutely a code violation the way I have it installed. I'm okay with it. I've taken on the risk, and it looks fantastic, and it functions well because I've got a huge chaseway that goes to a big data store underneath my staircase. So I know there's like exceptions to the rule, but on the whole, I don't like it. Ergonomically, this is just nightmare, you know? Alright, this is going somewhere. This is not where it's gonna end up, but I just like it's I can start to see it now. It's gotta be cozy, you know? That's a big part of it. And then just even little things, like, I might just open this up and let's just pick that it's gonna be something like percent open is gonna be like let's go 20% open, and then we can show it open in 3D. There you go. And maybe you put, boy, they don't, the way this is designed, there is no room for um, curtains if you wanted curtains here. So if you're really right on the water, depending on which exposure you got here, that's pretty rough to watch TV in the daytime when you can't block the light out of that. Yeah, I don't know. It's getting cozy. Something's happening. I'm gonna change all these finishes, but it's just getting me an idea. Yeah, we'll get there. All right, I gotta end the stream. Time for me to go do the next thing. Yeah, I think it's getting there. Um, it's crazy what happens once you start adding some stuff in. So, all right. Hey, thanks for talking to me. I always like the engagement. Very cool. Take care.